The winter in Seattle is not a season. It is a weight. It is a cold, damp shroud that clings to the skin and seeped into my very marrow as I walked toward the local pizza place. The sky was a bruised charcoal weeping a fine, icy mist that turned the cherry blossom skeletons into jagged needles against the gray. Today was my 18th birthday, a milestone that felt less like a celebration and more like a final sentencing. I found Brittany at a corner table, her face glowing with a vitality that I have forgotten how to possess. She is flourishing in college now, working part-time to build a life that is entirely her own. I slid into the booth opposite her, feeling small and gray in my damp hoodie. "Happy birthday, Bree," she said softly, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. Her touch was warm, a sharp contrast to the biting wind I'd just escaped. "Thanks, Britt," I whispered, my voice caught in the back of my throat. We talked as we do every week, about the art of surviving. She told me about her classes and her new boyfriend, a man she planned to move in with soon. A prospect that made my heart sink with a selfish, submissive dread. If she moved further away, who would be my anchor? I told her about the continued bullying at school, the way the halls felt like a gauntlet of whispers and shoved shoulders, and the silent, suffocating abuse I endured at home from Gina. "Dad's gone again," I told her, my eyes fixed on the steam rising from the pizza. "A month-long trip through Europe. It's just me and her." I hesitated, then lowered my voice. I think she's having an affair, Brittany. I see the way she looks at her phone, the way she leaves at odd hours." Brittany didn't look surprised. Instead, a shadow of old, weary anger crossed her face. "She probably is, Brian, but you should know, Dad has had affairs going back to when Mom was still alive." The words were a bomb that leveled the last of my childhood illusions. I felt a surge of fury, hot and acrid, but I did my best to keep my rage to a low, deep tone, my shoulders hunched in my habitual submissive posture. "Why didn't you tell me? I wanted to protect you," she said, her voice heavy with regret. Then she shifted the focus, her eyes searching mine. "What about you, Bree? What are your plans? Are you going to school? Will you stay in the dorms? Are you looking for a job?" The interrogation was innocent, but it made me feel like I was drowning. I had no answers. I was a student of many things, a master of none, and the thought of being out on my own was a terrifying, empty void. "I don't know," I admitted, the words feeling like a surrender. "Be careful, Brian," Brittany warned, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Not just about Gina, but about the future. Sometimes skeletons in the closet can create serious problems that follow you everywhere." One that suggested she was well aware of my secret therapy sessions with the mirror. She didn't ask why, and I didn't offer, but the realization that she knew made me feel exposed and fragile. When I returned home that evening, the house was a tomb of cold silence until Gina emerged from the kitchen. She was growing tired of me, simply living in the house, an interruption to the life she wanted to lead. My father had warned her not to drive me out as she had Brittany, so she had turned to a more psychological warfare. She followed me to my room, her footsteps a rhythmic threat on the stairs. "In your bunker again, Brian?" she called out, her voice dripping with a false, saccharine concern. I locked the door, the click of the bolt my only defense. But the lock didn't stop the frequent knocking, the constant interruptions that shattered my peace. When I would eventually emerge, she would probe me with questions. Her eyes narrowed with a suspicion she didn't even try to hide. "What are you doing in there for hours?" she'd ask, a sinister smile playing on her lips. "Is it drugs? Porn? What is it that a young man your age needs so much privacy for?" She didn't care about the answer. She only cared about the stress it caused me, a deep-rooted anxiety that drove me back to the mirror for comfort. A few days later, on a Saturday when Gina had left for a half-day of pampering at the salon, a bold, reckless curiosity took hold of me. I needed to know the truth about her. I crept into her bedroom, my heart hammering against my ribs. I started in the closet, finding a sea of elegant, expensive outfits with the tags still on. Further back, I found older clothes, provocative, slutty skirts and tops that didn't seem to fit her anymore. I gathered a few, thinking they wouldn't be missed. Then I saw them, 4 crisp white boxes buried under a pile of shoeboxes. I pulled the top one onto the bed and broke the seal. Inside was a delicate lace lingerie set in pink and white. As I touched the fabric, a strange, conflicting feeling washed over me. I had worn intimates before, but this was different. It was sexy, and for the first time, an outfit made me feel a sudden, confusing arousal. I quickly closed the box, my face flushing with shame and excitement. I moved to the nightstand and pulled open the drawer, finding Gina's sex toys, the first real evidence of her infidelity, even if it was with battery-operated playthings. Then the sound of the front door slamming shattered the silence.